Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Never Last Racing Team event. Not your normal comms for this afternoon. My name is Ariel J. Cole, taking you guys through this for this afternoon. Joined alongside me is Mr. FRA Liam. How are you doing this afternoon, mate?
Not too bad, not too bad, mate. Kind of excited for Mexico and with a full grid of 20 taking on the best in this event. It's definitely one to watch.
Yeah, no, it certainly is one to watch. That is for certain, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go. As I said, well, as you guys can see on your screen at the moment, that is what the championship is currently looking like after 2 rounds. Of course, my team on top, relentless, 84 points to our name, with NLR in second with 54 points. Of course, I will try and be as unbiased as I possibly can for today. I will promise you that. Now, QRT is in third with 36 points, GSP in fourth with 35. Delta T Racing in 5th with 29, SBS in 6th with 24, ERT in 7th with 10, VER in 8th with 8, CPI in 9th with 2, IRT the only ones yet to score a point, and so hopefully we might see them try and score a few points for this for this race for today. Of course, it is full qualifying, and we have loaded into the full qualifying system now, so I'll just transition over to that for yourselves now. As you can see, as I said, we're into that full first qualifying session, and I think one of NLR's own, Mr. Felix won the first one out on track, Liam.
Yes, he is. Track limits will definitely play a big part here today. I know in turns 3 you can kind of extend, and especially through the stadium section is where you can really push the track limits just a bit. And coming now, if riding on board with Felix One, these S sections really easy to invalidate it on a proper lap. So
Yeah, no, very, very easy indeed. But yeah, so of course, all those badges being on an out lap at the moment. Of course, as I said, it's a full qualifying session, so 5 will be eliminated at the end of this session after the 18 minutes. Then, of course, Q2 after the, I believe it is 12 minutes. No, sorry, 15 minutes. Another 5 will be eliminated, and then after 12 minutes for Q3, another. Then it's just an all-out brawl for that top 10. So we'll see how that goes on. But as I said, Never Last Racing's own Felix One out on a lap at the moment, and we'll ride on board with him for the first inkling of a lap time around Mexico. So coming up towards turn number 1, braking just around the 100-meter board, turning in very nicely, keeping it in 4th gear. You can probably cut a little bit more of that turn 2, but Felix opts not to, and ends up spinning out of turn 3. So that's already his lap done. So may as well go on board with, I believe, El Troca 05 in the Ferrari.
yeah, hold on. Are you streaming? Because I think yeah, the guys in the NLR Discord are screaming stream. So just
Oh,
double check if you're streaming or not.
I believe I've got the stream up. It does say there's 3 viewers, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm logged in on the account for it.
Actually, I'll just
And this is mine.
and then
No, this is live.
what's the stream title? I'll just pull it up really quickly.
It is it should say NLR Esports League S2 Round 3 Mexico.
S2 round 3 Mexico. Yeah, okay. I'll just link it to the thing.
Yeah, that's very strange. I'm not sure. It's showing up for it, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. Not sure what that's about.
Okay. And Felix One sets a second passes now as El Chocker puts a 1:16.7. Obviously, Felix One making a mistake in the first sector, so looking to improve on this time later on in the session won't be too helpful on his end.
Yeah, no, of course, and yeah, as I said, I'm sure Felix One will be able to improve on that time. I see Mr. VER Jimmy going on a set of the intermediate tyres for his first run, so I think he's just going to be going for, well, just trying to make sure that everything's working perfectly fine. Timo for ERT goes out on top now with a 16.4, and I think we're going to start to see these times plummet more with the lap times as they go on. And now, of course, Mr. Fight Me Now Bot, what a name that is, going on top of the 16.1 in that Haas car. So yeah, everyone else pretty much now getting some laps on the board. Yeah, of course, 13 minutes left to go of qualifying. Just everyone trying to get at least their first lap on the board so they know that they can stay in or try and keep within that top 15 for the qualifying.
Yeah. I'm riding on board with Jerry Zocht at the moment. Coming through Sector 2 now as he's approaching the first of the S's. Left-handers hook it up for the right-hander. Try not to spin it, but Jerry Zocht gets a really big snap of oversteer. Would cost him a couple of tenths as he opens up the DRS now. And heading into the stadium section. Swooping right-hander, which is followed by a really slow hairpin. And closing the final few corners now, Jerry Zocht won't be a competitive lap time, methinks, but as he comes across the line now, it's a 16.8, lands him in P8.
Yeah, not a bad lap time whatsoever for Jerry. Again, I can see Jimmy going on another lap on a set of the intermediate tyres, so I think he's just wanting an actual valid lap, even if it is on a set of those inters. So I'm sure we'll see that time come down from him towards the end of qualifying. But I can see Mr. GSP Justin out on a lap at the moment as he's just making his way through the stadium section. Purple in sector 2 as well for the Aston Martin, making his way around now the final corner to complete his lap time. This looks like this could be around 6th or 7th position, and it's just behind the SBS driver of Alien in the other Haas as well. So Justin, not a bad time whatsoever. Chris as well going into P9 with a 16.8 in the McLaren, and as I said, like a lot more times are going to start to come down now as well. Rocco currently out on a lap, as well as Matt's in the AlphaTauri. I think only just coming through the first sector is Matt's now as well. So just have a look and see who are also currently out on laps. I believe DTR Shabby 2K is as well, but I think Rocco is the furthest one along on a lap for Relentless. So we'll run on board of him, making his way up towards the end of Sector 2, 56.9. Again, purple Sector 2. So we'll see if it is the case, if he's able to complete this lap time as well. And maybe get himself within sort of that top 5 area, because this is looking like a pretty decent lap. Definitely quicker than what Justin's was when he was riding on board of that. But Rocco, around the final corner and up to the line, 16.626 for the Relentless driver. P6, and I think that's pretty much solidified himself within that the top 15 already. Again, I know we'll start to see a lot more times drop as the DTR driver in the Ferrari of Shabby 2K chucks it straight onto pole position.
Very competitive lap time, came out of nowhere to be fair, so definitely a good Q1 lap. Again, still Q1, but it might be a glimpse of the future in the very, very near future of what's to come.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. So let's have a look and see if, as I said, it's now sort of coming towards the midpoint of the qualifying session. A lot of guys are going to be in the pits, maybe going for only 2 runs so they can keep another set of the softs for Q2 and for Q3. But right on board with the CPI driver of Noxie, hasn't set a lap time at the moment, and Matt's also did invalidate on his time, so he's looking to go again in the AlphaTauri. Can also see, I think Ren's putting it up into P10 as well, 16.714 for the IRT driver. So IRT still trying to look for their first set of points. And we'll see if they are able to accomplish that for this afternoon. But as I said, the McLaren driver now just making his way through Sector 2 and through the S section of the track. Very easy to invalidate around here as well. Let's see if he's able to keep it in between the lines, and he has done that very nicely now. DRS enabled, of course, for this short little sector before the stadium section. It says purple Sector 2 once again. I think that is a bit of a fib, because that time was looking a little bit slower than what Rocco's was up in P7 at the moment. So yeah, Noxie, I think, is going to try. He's probably going to slot in around where El Trocker and Alien are at the moment in 8th and 9th. In fact, it's actually very tight compact. I didn't realise how tight that was between them lot. But Noxie, in fact, goes up ahead of Rocco in the McLaren and puts it into P7. So nice lap from the CPI driver. But yeah, 9th through to 11th, even to 12th, sorry, all separated by 0.02 of a second.
Very competitive indeed. Didn't really expect that at all, but there's there isn't really much time to play around with in this track, I guess, if you know where I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, no, it definitely isn't. It's a very fast track. It's a long track, but it's a very fast track. So I'm expecting it to be quite the times are going to be very sort of quite compact of each other. It's just if they're able to keep it in between the white lines, and I can see Playtendo, the other GSP driver in P6 at the moment, doing a very nice job of that. Coming up towards the end of Sector 1, it's 5,000 down on his time, so I'm sure Sector 2 and Sector 3 is where we'll start to see if he does make more of an improvement with that one. But coming around a double right-handers now is the Aston Martin driver. There's also a Red Bull just up in front doing a lap as well. The VER drivers still yet to put a proper time on the board, so they're both probably
Vogel
on a lap.
spins.
Ooh.
Yeah, spins at the final S, I think, so definitely won't help his cause. We are yet to set a competitive lap time as well, so hopefully Jimmy will be able to set one. We'll ride on board with him, unless you want to say something.
Yeah, no, I mean, Playtendo's just come around the final corner now for the GSP guys, and up into P3, up ahead of Felix 1 for NLR. So very nice time for the Aston Martin. We'll go on board with Jimmy now then, as he's just making his way through the stadium section as we speak for VER. 56.9 in the second sector, so again, it's around where Rocco, Noxie and Timo are at the moment. If he's able to complete this lap, around the final corner he comes, and we'll see what time he's able to do, as I believe that was, who was that improved? I think that was QRT Ryan up into 7th, and Jimmy up into 9th. 0.02 of a second behind Noxie, so it's still very tight and compact between all of those guys. And I think GSP giving each other a little bit of a slipstream there. Justin just getting a nice little tow from Playtendo. I can't remember, was that not, am I right in thinking that wasn't allowed?
I actually don't know anything about that, to be fair with you, so no comment for now. But if it were legal, then very good. Well, it's now a wasted slipstream as Justin spins after setting the fastest first sector, so shame for Justin. And it was a bit of a waste of a slipstream.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a bit of a way for the slipstream. If it is the case that it is allowed, or see if it is not allowed, then it probably was a bit of a blessing that has happened. So, yeah, not going to be able to put another time on the board just at the moment. But I won't be surprised if we see Justin make his way into the pits at the end of this lap, so you can put another set of softs on to try and make sure he solidifies himself out of that top 15. Currently, the guys that are out at the moment are Mats, Dara, Coxie, Vogel, and Jerry at this present moment. But of course, they're all out on laps or on an out lap, other than Jerry, who's still in the pits, but I think he's going to gear up to go for one more lap very, very shortly for NLR. Of course, NLR fighting for second in this. As I was saying, that though, Dara goes up in a P6 with a 16.348 for, I'm trying to think of what team that is he's driving for.
QRT.
Yeah, for QRT. So very nice time for Dara, and I think QRT are pretty much solidified within that top 15 with each other. But again, there's still 5 more minutes left to go. Anything can still happen with any of those guys. Even from 10th downwards, I'm sure we'll see a lot more times improved from there.
Definitely, and hopefully Coxie and Mats could pull it out the top 15. I'm kind of rooting for these two now, because they haven't set a lap yet. But Mats beginning his lap, coming at the end of the straight now, chuck it down to 3rd gear and through the chicane section here. Got to be very careful and very precise with your corner entry and exit, as Mats has shown us there. He'll set a 28.4 split, and apparently showing me fastest first sector, so maybe that's a bit of a dud, I don't know yet. But as he's coming around the double right-hander, almost hairpin, gets a really good exit and through the S now. Careful not to spin here, as it's very easy to lose a bit of traction here. Matt's taking it really easy, pushing the track limits, gets a snap of oversteer. Still continues with his lap time though, sets the fastest second sector. That is definitely a dud. And coming through the stadium section now, through the right, through the left hairpin, and through this very tight sections here, closing off his lap now. Our team Mats, he'll set a 16.7, which won't be enough to pull him out of Q2 at this current moment in time, or Q1.
No, it certainly won't. I think the IRT driver might actually be out of qualifying now. He's got to try and obviously make his way back to the pits ASAP if he wants any chance at that. The other relentless driver of Coxey, in fact, pulls into the pits as well. So he is, I think, going to try and get himself those tyres changed ASAP, get himself straight back out to go for one more run. Might even try and help out Rocco as well. I don't know because I can see Rocco out on an outlap at the moment. But right on board with the NLR driver of Jerry, down in 19th position at the moment at 16.891, the last of the actual runners, as he runs a little bit wide out of turn 3, and that's his time invalidated now as well. So yeah, unfortunately for Jerry, I mean, he could still at least gear up and go for one more lap, but those tyres are not going to be at its peak, unfortunately for him. Matt's as well, as I said, he's not got any ERS to play with either, so he is more than likely going to be in at the end of this lap. And I don't know if he will have enough time. I think it's just a bit too... was too little too late. So yeah, I definitely think the IRT driver is out of qualifying for this one. But we're right on board with, I believe it is going to be QRT Ryan, who is starting his now final lap for QRT. As I said, I think both of the QRT boys are solidified for that top 15, but I suppose just to play it safe, may as well go for one more lap because everybody else pretty much behind them is on an out lap, other than Jimmy and Matt.
Yeah, and just riding on board with QRT Ryan. Interesting that he came out of one of these corners in fifth now, so maybe traction isn't too strong here at the moment. Bear in mind, it's still Q1. Track evolution is still yet to play its part. But Ryan now, again, through the double right-handers, almost hairpin, like I like to say. And again, through the S's once more for Q1. Takes it really well, playing with track limits just a little bit, but still being very safe about it. Very quick manoeuvring from the steering wheel as Ryan sets a 56.6 second split. So what can he do for his third split? It's all about precision here, as Ryan shows us how to take it beautifully, hitting every apex just about right, and this might look like a very competitive lap time. QRT Ryan now comes across the line, P4.
What a time. Very nice time from Ryan indeed. Unfortunately, still not besting out Shabby at the top. Shabby was very confident with his lap. He retired pretty much with about 7 minutes left to go. So the DTR driver very confident in his lap time. And I don't blame him because, yeah, as I said, up top at the moment, done a very nice time to say the least. Renz is actually managing to get back out and start another lap now. So the IRT driver, I think I don't know how he's managed to, but has got himself back out and starting now his final lap. Oh, sorry, it was Matt I was looking at. That was might be a little bit at the danger zone with that one. Rocco has, I believe, come across the line to start his now final lap as well as Coxey. So both of the Relentless boys are doing their laps currently, as Justin out on top for GSP at 16.012. And yeah, very nice lap time from the Aston Martin, and I'm sure we'll see. I think that might be the pole position for the Q1 session. Again, very, very nice time to say the least. And I'm just trying to have a look and see who's going to be the next one to come across the line. Believe it will be one of the Relentless boys to finish their final lap, to finish one of their laps. I believe it will be Rocco to complete his final lap, and only 10 hundredths up on his time. He's sitting in P15 in the danger zone with his teammate behind him. There's a chance that his teammate could knock him out of the qualifying session if Rocco doesn't have a good final third sector. As he makes his way now around the final corner, comes Rocco with the 16.3. I think that might just about do it. I think he has just solidified himself as Coxey, in fact, actually comes into the pits, invalidated on his time. So he is out in Q1 without a time as well. So he'll be starting at the very back of the grid. But I have seen what Coxey can do before, and I know that he, well, me personally, I would say he's usually a bit better when he's actually starting towards the back end of the grid, because a lot of the time, well, he will try and hold up as many people as he can to maybe help out his teammate. And not only that, for some reason, it tends to work out for him. So we'll see if that is going to be the case for this evening, and see if Relentless are going to be able to pick up quite a few points for tonight. Obviously, I'm hoping so, but I'm sure everybody else listening in the stream isn't hoping for that, and hoping that NLR are going to be able to make up for it. Yeah, only one that's left on a lap is Matt. He did manage to get a final run on the board, so let's have a look and see where he gets to. Into P8.
A sigh of relief for IRT now, as at least one of their drivers gets through for a Q2. So I pulled it out the bag, definitely Mats did. So, yeah, really impressed with him. But GSP Justin, coming out of nowhere, setting the 16-0 just ahead of Shaby. Perhaps something to look at in the future, very near future?
Definitely could be. Definitely a fight for pole position with those top guys there. As I said, Justin out on top for Q1. Shaby in second, with Fight Me Now Bot in third for SBS. Playtendo in fourth. QRT Ryan in fifth. Felix 1 in sixth. AJ seventh. Matt's in it. Noxie ninth. Vogel in 10th. Darrett in 11th. Alien 12th. Rocco 13th. Jerry in 14th, Timo in 15th, and then of course the ones that have been knocked out in Q1 are the VR driver of Jimmy, Chris RBL for CPI, L Trocker 05, IRT Rent, and REL Coxie as well. So all those guys being knocked out of that. All each with one driver from each team, so at least they've got another driver in each of the other teams that are going to be at least going for Q2 and trying to put themselves into Q3. But early predictions from that, Liam. What do you make of that qualifying session?
It was actually really exciting just to see them drivers just flick their wheel through sector 2 with utter precision. Definitely very exciting so far. And I just want to point out the gap between P1 and the P19, I guess, was 7 tenths. So there was 7 tenths gap and 3 tenths taken from. I'm overcomplicating this sentence. There was 4 tenths, and that was the gap from P15 to P1.
Very tight knit indeed. But as I said, now of course 15 drivers remaining in this Q2 session. I said 15 minutes left on that, so I'll probably only get 2 runs out on that, and I can already see both Haas cars and one of the Alfa Romeos out coming out on track now. So both the SBS drivers, and I believe that might also be Felix 1 coming out of the pits as well. So we'll see how they tend to get on. I have also just been informed that slipstreaming isn't allowed, so might get investigated afterwards. But Justin didn't complete the lap anyway, so I don't think there's going to be anything that comes of that at all. Maybe just a little bit of a telling off. So yeah, we'll see how each of these guys get on within Q2. Hopefully no slipstream to the point where it then gets them gets them in trouble. But yeah, both of the SBS drivers, fighting themselves in towards the top 15. I think they're both in the top 10 as well. So there is a chance we could see both of the Hasses within the top 10 for today.
Yeah, definitely. SBS coming out strong tonight, or this afternoon. Would be interesting to see where Alien ends up. Having personally raced him, very, very fast driver on his day. So kind of rooting for him to get into the top 3 and fighting you now, but a legendary nickname, as you said. Definitely showing his pace early on in Q1, so definitely one to watch.
Certainly will be. So let's have a look.
Yep, do you want to take him on board?
Yeah, so Mr. Fight Me Now Bot, as I said, absolutely legendary nickname, now going to be starting his first lap in Q2. So we're right on board with the Haas car, and we'll see how he is able to get on, making his way, as I said, down in towards turn number 1. Once again, breaking it around that 100-meter board, keeping it in 3rd gear this time, not 4th gear like Felix 1 was before. Very nicely done over that turn 2 curb, and getting very nice traction out of the exit of turn number 3. DRS now open for the second time in this lap. There is obviously 3 detection zones. This was the second one. Purple sector 1, obviously, because he's the only one that's done that first sector so far. Now through the double right-handers. A bit more of an awkward corner that can actually catch people out if you go a bit too wide on that curb. I have seen instances where it can beach the car for some strange reason, so definitely one that we may need to keep an eye out for in the race. But coming through the S section now, and very nicely done for Mr. Fight Me Now Bot. Now the 3rd DRS zone being detected as well. I didn't actually catch the sector split, but through 4th gear now, coming through the stadium section, we'll see what this time is going to be for the SBS driver, as he's now only got 2 more corners left to go, and we'll see what time he's able to do, keeping it in 2nd gear, coming out onto the final corner now, and around the final corner up to the line, the first driver into the 15s, a 15.977 for the Haas, and I think that is a very, very competitive lap time, as the other SBS driver behind him has come into the pits, and Felix 1 just basically just throwing exactly what I said out of the window.
Absolutely stellar stuff, and especially just for the start of Q2. I didn't expect these drivers to already be set in 15s. Dara Smith comes in third, 16.5, so probably on used sets of softs. So some drivers might be using their old set from Q1 to set a banker lap time and improve on their lap time later. So might see that come into play. Yeah, just not much to say from my end.
No, I'm just trying to see if there's anybody that is currently out on a lap. I was riding on board with Vogel, but he's he's already basically passed that 16-second threshold, so I think
Oh,
he's not
shitty.
putting a proper time on the board. I'm just trying to see who is really going to be the next one across the line.
Shavy. Oh,
I think it might actually be Rocco, currently out on a lap. As I say, that he's actually invalidated, so yeah, not time on the board for him. Dara and Playtendo obviously coming across the line as well, 16s for the both of them respectively. But I'm sure what we saw in qualifying from Playtendo, he might be improving on that lap time very soon. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Shaby is going to be the next one across the line, and a 56.6 at the through sector 2. So this is looking like this could be in contention with Felix One and Fight Me Now Bot as well. So two more corners left to go for the Ferrari, and we'll see what time he is able to do. Keeping it in fourth gear to get the traction as best as he possibly can out of that final corner. Up to the line, 15.973, 4 thousandths of a second up ahead of Fight Me Now Bot, and 400ths behind Felix One. So Felix One, NLR, out on top at the moment, and I'm sure we're going to see seeing a lot of happy faces within the stream chat for that.
definitely. There isn't. Is there anyone else on the lap? No, Matt spins it coming out the final corner. So won't be setting a lap anytime soon, just yet. Uh, is there anyone else on the lap? Don't think there is. Actually, this would be a really good time to go over the point system for qualifying. So points are awarded in Q3 for qualifying. So first we'll get 10 points, second 8 points, third 6 points, and then from third downwards, fourth would get 5 points. Hold on, I need to read this. Sorry, my mind is going blank at the moment. Yeah, so fourth would get 5 points, five would get 4 points, six would get 3 points, seven would get 2 points, and eight would get 1 point. So no points awarded for P9 and 10. So you'd really want to be slotting yourself in within the top 8. And for the race, of course, normal point system.
Including obviously that fastest lap as well for that point. So we'll see if who will be able to come out on top with that one. At the moment, it's looking very nice. It's looking like a sort of a three-way fight between Felix One, Shaby, and Fight Me Now Bot as well. You know, they're 5 tenths clear of the Playtendo out in fourth position, as running on board with Jerry, invalidating unfortunately for him through the S's. Alien One as well, invalidating through the S's. Noxie did manage to put a time on the board as well for CPI and goes up ahead of Justin and Dara. And interestingly, Justin and Dara have both set the exact same times. So that's not something that you see every day when it comes to qualifying. But yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a very tight knit between those guys as well. Vogel, I think, also just starting his lap, as well as AJ just out in front of him.
Yeah, right. Oh no, Vogel's already invalidated, hopping over one of the curbs just a bit too much. So riding board with AJ sets a 28-4 split for his first sector, looking a bit competitive as we come across this very tight double right-hander now. And approaching the S's once more, takes it really, really tight. Not getting on the curb, interestingly enough, so playing it safe at the moment. Maybe just trying to set a banker as he invalidates his lap time, getting too close to the curb and to the white line. So it's a bit of a shame for the ERT driver, I believe. Isn't it ERT? Yeah.
Believe so, yeah, the ERT driver for sure. Yeah, very unfortunate for him indeed. But right on board now with one of my relentless drivers of Rocco coming through the S section as well. Obviously, the lone relentless driver is Coxie was unfortunately knocked out in Q1, so we'll see what Rocco can do now, making his way through the S section of the track. Very nicely done from him indeed, a 56.6 for sector 2. So this is looking in contention with those guys that are in those high 15s, and looks like he could slot himself in towards P4, maybe even P3 or try and get even very tight knit with those guys at the top three. But Rocco now round in the final corner and up towards the line he comes. It's looking like it actually is pole. It's close to it. It's a 16.057, just over a tenth of a second behind Felix One. But joining the fray with those top three guys, I think this could be a bit more of an interesting qualifying than we expect. Because at the moment it's a little bit of a lull period. But obviously there's 6 minutes left to go, so we're going to see a lot more time start to creep down as the drivers are going around.
The calm before the storm, as some may say. Riding board with Ryan just invalidates coming across the S section now, so very unfortunate for him. We'll ride on board with Dara Smith, actually, who is on a lap, who hasn't invalidated, as he's finishing off the sector 2 now. He'll set 56, it looks like. Yes, 56.4 second split, 5 tenths up from his original time. So this is definitely a new set for him, as Dara Smith gets really wide coming across the hairpin now and finishing off his lap. Will it be a competitive lap time? I'm not sure. If he ran wide through the hairpin, he slots himself into P2.
Wow. Despite going very wide, coming in towards the stadium section, he still manages to get a P2. Imagine if he didn't. That would have been pole position for Dara. So I'm sure he may be able to just get in the pits, slot on another set of softs if he wants to, and then just go out once again. 5 guys that are being knocked out currently are QRT Ryan, Jerry Zoct, SBS Alien, IRT Mats, and ERT Timo. Or looking like they could be knocked out in Q2. All haven't actually got a lap time on the board yet, so there is definitely still a lot of time. And I'm quite surprised that Justin is down in 10th, despite where we saw him at the end of qualifying as Q1. He's sitting down in 10th on the borderline, and he's actually he's set the slowest lap time that anyone has so far in this qualifying 2 sessions. So I see he is on an outlap currently, so we'll see if he's able to set a better time.
I think he's towing along his GSB teammate.
Oh, so we're seeing this. We are seeing this.
Yep. Definitely towed along his GSB teammate, so I don't think they were informed of the no slipstream rule. So that might be investigated. I'm not sure. It's up to the rival teams to choose to report it. But yeah, as you said, GSP Justin, very surprising that he's set the slowest time out of anybody at the moment. So definitely one to watch at the dying stages of Q2.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. But let's have a look and see what Playtendo is going to do. Is he's making his way around the stadium section. He was a 10th up, or 10th and a half up, sorry, at the end of Sector 2. Now, 2 more corners left to go. Of course, both of the double right-handers. And now around the final corner comes Playtendo up towards the line, 16.060. And I think that solidified himself in Q3 for today as well. Not only that, I also think Justin is going to be giving... I think Playtendo is going to be giving Justin a tow as well. I think Playtendo is just going to wait. But yeah, I don't even think the GSP boys have been notified of the rule to not give slipstream. As I said, as it's shown on stream, they were giving each other slipstream. Although I see Playtender has pretty much just gone straight for it. So I think they may have now read it that you cannot give slipstream for that. So Justin's going to try and see what time he can set, as he's 2 attempts up on his time, with a massive slide coming out of the exit of turn number 5, and that is an invalidation for Justin. So I think he may be able to back off, get those tyres cooled down back to the optimal temperature, get that ERS built back up, and then go for one final lap. But yeah, I think the GSP boys are going to be in a little bit of trouble at the end of this qualifying session.
Yeah, so it really depends who watched back the stream and who will report it. Obviously, we'll stay unbiased, me and you, J. Cole. So yeah, no comment from us. As QRT Ryan now, he's beginning his lap. DRS wide open and took the first sector really well. So could be a competitive first sector. It does look like it, as he's coming across this really tight right-hander now, followed by another double right-hander. And as you said, you could get beached here. Be careful not to get beached, as Ryan successfully avoids that very odd corner. Coming across the S section now, Purity Ryan gets a snap of oversteer and once again invalidates. So Definitely not what you want to see if you're a Cure team manager at the moment.
Yeah, no, certainly not. Down in 13th position. Obviously, the other QRT driver up in second, so I'm sure that there's still a decent amount of points for QRT. Obviously, if they do manage to get themselves within that top 8 within the qualifying session for Q3. Obviously, Felix won. Dara, Fighting Now Bottom, Rocco all retiring from the session. I think they're all quite happy with their laps. It's just the rest of the guys seeing what they can do. QRT right now going to be starting his final lap. Noxy, AJ all on a lap, and as I say that, I believe someone did just make an improvement. I believe I couldn't really see who that was that just made an improvement, so we'll stick on board with Jerry, as in fact he comes into the pits. So I think P9 for Jerry is still very tight in hoping that he can stay within that top 10 for the qualifying free session. But we're on board with AJ, as I believe he will be one of the next ones to complete his final lap, 56.5 at the exit of Sector 2. So AJ looking like he's going to be quite a competitive time, as Justin is out in Q2. So the one that put it on pole in Q1 is now out in Q2. Very unfortunate for the GSP driver, but here we go. AJ, the ERT driver, making his way around the final corner, slots it onto pole position by 7 thousandths of a second up ahead of Felix 1. Very nice time from AJ. There's a few more times still coming in. Noxy as well coming across the line, puts it into P4. Top 6 all separated by under a tenth of a second, with Vogel and Rocco and Alien and Playtendo and Jerry all separated by a tenth of a second. So that just goes to show you just got to get within a tenth, and there is a chance that you may not even still get into Q3 after all of those times. Timo and Matt's coming across the line. Matt's doesn't get out of Q2. Timo is going to be, I believe, one of the last ones to complete his lap time and slots it on a pole position.
Wow, it's near T1 too, coming out of absolutely nowhere. Wow.
Indeed, what a time.
So very competitive. Splits the grid by 1.5 tenths. What a showing that is.
Certainly is. So Vogel, I thought he was going to be on a final lap, but unfortunately for him, he's not. He's 2 tenths down on his time, 16.0. But I don't think it really matters that much. I think he knows that he's out of. He's into Q3. Sorry. So yeah, straight into the pits comes the VER driver. The 5 drivers knocked out, all being both of the GSP drivers of Playtender and Justin. Despite giving them each other slipstream, they are out of the qualifying session by a very annoying 1,000th of a second between Playtendo and Aliens. So you couldn't get that any closer if you tried. Playtendo out of Q2, not being able to make it into Q3. Jerry, Matt, Justin, and Ryan, QRT Ryan, not being able to make it into Q3 without a lap time on the board. As I said, the Q1 pole man of GSP Justin is starting in P14, which is a very interesting thing to say the least. Matt's unfortunately not been able to put himself into Q3 after having a pretty decent Q1 performance. As I said, Playtendo just missing out by, you could probably separate them just by a sheet of paper or chucking a sheet over the pair of them. Very, very close night between them. And obviously, one of the NLR drivers of Jerry not being able to make it in, but it is an ERT 1-2 at the end of Q2. Felix 1 in 3rd, Noxy 4th, Dara in 5th, Shaby in 6th, Fight Me Now Bot in 7th, Bogo in 8th, Rocco 9th, and Alien taking the top 10. Both Hasses into Q3, as well as both of the Williams, and then, of course, 1 Alfa Romeo, 1 McLaren, 1 Alpine, 1 Ferrari, 1 Red Bull, and 1 Mercedes. So I think this is going to be a very exciting end to Q3, especially considering that from AJ all the way down to Alien, they're separated by just over a tenth of a second.
Yeah, just wow. Just an amazing qualifying session, and the gaps are even closer than it was. 3 tenths is the cutoff time for to getting into Q3. Alien obviously taking the last spot, of course. So, early pole predictions.
From that qualifying session, I think we might see one of the ERT boys out on top. I am probably going to be inclined to also say, because I'm streaming on their channel, that Felix 1 could look to take pole as well. But at the same time, I think it is also a valid statement. Felix 1 was looking very quick at the early stages of Q2, and I'm pretty sure he only set that 1 lap. So I think there is definitely a lot more time for Felix 1 to improve on that time. I want to say Rocco because relentless. I'm trying to keep it as unbiased as possible, but I kind of have to say I want to back my team. But if I'm going with anyone, and if I had to put money down on someone, I'm looking at one of those two ERT boys.
Yeah, definitely. Very one to watch, both of them. So, yeah, I think Fight Me Now bot could be a really, well, a dark horse in all of this. Set a really early Q2 lap, did not go out at all after that. So definitely one to watch as well. Again, like you said, Felix one coming out the board from Q2 just has the pace in him. Can he put it on pole now? And Shaby, of course, put in pole in Q1. So really, there's like 5, 6 drivers that could slot it into P1, and they could be separated within a tenth.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, from Q2, they were all, the rest of the top 10, other than of course Timo, they were all separated by just over a tenth of a second between all 10 of them. So, well, between all 9 of them, shall I say, because the Timo putting it on pole by that much, but still 2.5 tenths. Throughout the whole of the top 10. So I think this Q3 session is definitely going to be spicy, and we're right on board with Mr. Fight Me Now bot for the second time, of course, being our first one to take us around for Q3 now. 10 minutes left to go of the session. I think they're only really going to get the 2 runs in. Maybe they could try and fit a 3rd run in, but I think that still is going to be a bit too tight, and they may have to cut a few corners by doing it, but I think that is also not allowed, so we'll see if that is the case. I think it is really going to be the 2 runs that we're going to see from each of these guys. And it's the Fight Me Now bot in the Haas at the end of Sector 1 is a 28.2 for his first sector. So definitely quicker than what we've been seeing in those previous 2 qualifying sessions. I think Q3 usually is always going to have the quickest ones because of the... I guess there is some sort of track evolution in the game with a full qualifying session. So I'm assuming with all of these, we're going to see these times start to dip down. We should see a few more drivers now reach their way in towards the 115s as Fight Me Now bot has invalidated on his first lap. So we'll go on to the person that I think is probably going to is looking decent for a pole position. Mr. Felix won a 56.3 at the exit of Sector 2. So again, I think we are going to start to see a lot more times drop into the 115s in the Alfa Romeo. Let's see what he is able to do. 2 more corners left to go as he keeps it in 4th gear, trying to get the traction out as best as he possibly can. Up towards the line comes Felix 1. So 15.622 to start us off with this Q3 session.
Absolutely bizarre lap, really fast, much faster than the Q2 lap. So maybe track evolution is starting to do its thing. Alien 1 coming across the line with a 15.7. So yeah, times are coming in quick now. They're really close as things stand at the moment. Shaby next across the line now. Shaby, where will he put it? He'll put it in P3 with a 16.3. So could be on a new soft. So definitely don't count it out just yet. Same with AJ, setting 16.4 for his first lap.
Certainly can, and Timo coming across the line as well, 16.1 for the ERT driver. So both ERT boys not looking as pacey as they were in that Q2 session, but as I said, I think they are using an old set of tyres, which is why they're not close to, or in comparison to Alien 1 and Felix 1's times as well. So again, 7.5 minutes left to go off this qualifying session. We'll start to see these times drop as Rocco comes across the line at 17.3 for the relentless driver. And again, I think that's also the same thing. I think it is the case that, he went on an old set of tyres or must have made some sort of mistake within his lap. Puts it in the P6 currently. Of course, everybody out on a lap now or on an out lap. Other than Felix 1, our pole sitter so far has only just made his way into the pits. And same with Alien 1. Noxy, though, comes across the line into P3 with a 15.791. So Felix 1's time is looking quite untouched at the moment. But I know Vogel is out on a lap at the moment. And he's actually, in fact, made a massive mistake as well. So he's not going to be putting a competitive time on the board as of yet.
Okay, and Rocco setting a slower lap time than he would have liked, so definitely a lot of mistakes in his lap as he almost spins it in Sector 2 in his in-lap. So that's a bit of a shame. And I think we've reached a period in Q3 where it's the calm before the storm. And bear in mind, And bear in mind, there's points being awarded for this qualifying session now. So definitely, these drivers would want to get their best game on for their last lap. So yeah, Dara Smith on an out lap actually. So still yet to set a lap. Interestingly enough, as Dara Smith now coming across the line, beginning his lap, hitting the likes of 330 kilometers an hour or 210 miles per hour. As he breaks at the 100-meter board, make it tight for the first apex, hook up the left and right chicane, as Dara does really well. DRS wide open for the second time this lap. Like you said, there's 2 detection zones in Sector 1, as Dara now locks it up into the left and right-handers. Approaching another right-hander, double right-hander actually. Sorry, my words are being jumbled at the moment, as he's approaching the double S section now. Keeps it really tight indeed, and for his second split now, it might look like a 56. Yes, it is a 56.4. As he's finishing off this final lap now. In through the hairpin now, and coming across the line. Oh, and validates now. Ooh.
Yeah, not a good invalidation at all for Dara. P9 still at the moment, not a lot of time on the board. Fight Me Now bot as well was just on a lap up ahead of him and invalidated on his time as well through the S's. Vogel though, we missed that one. He puts it onto P3 on a used set of the soft compound tyre, 15.7 for the virtual esports drivers. So very nice time for Vogel for sure. And we'll see if he is able to, try and maybe fight for that pole position. But at the moment, Felix One still out on top and the first one to come out to do his final lap. First one, as I said, coming out on track for that final lap as well. So we'll see what the NLR driver is able to do. Of course, NLR still trying to catch up to Relentless in the points so far. One Relentless driver in Q3, one NLR driver in Q3. I think is going to give a bit more of an opportunity for any of those other guys fighting for third position and downwards to get any sort of more times on the board. But at the moment, it's up to sort of, both ERT drivers who are currently sitting relatively low in the standings in P7 with only 10 points to their name, looking to try and make a bit more up for it. So we'll see if they are able to do so for sure. But yeah, at the moment, both in Q3, both are getting points for that. As I said, the point system being 10 for first, 8 for second, 6 for third, 5 for fourth, 4 for fifth, 3 for sixth, 2 for seventh, and 1 for eighth. And at the moment, all the guys that have actually set the times are the ones that are picking up points. Of course, Dara and Fight Me Now bot still yet to put times on the board, but we've seen what they were capable of in Q1 and in Q2, both fighting in that top 5 position. So it's just a case they need to just try and keep it in between those white lines to get themselves that lap time on the board, and they should be within that top 5. As I said, we've seen it through that Q1 and Q2 stages. I don't see any reason why they won't be in it for Q3, but right on board with Felix One, and he is just now, as I said, on his final lap, coming through the first sector now, trying to take it as wide as he possibly can through the exit. That goes very wide and keeps it somehow valid, despite going wide out of turn number 3. Again, I don't know if that might be investigated after the race or anything like that, but coming through the end of sector 1, 1600s down on his time is the NLR driver. Now through the double right hand is keeping it in 4th gear to get the best traction out there as possible, not beaching it on the curb up there either. Now coming through the S section for the final time for his laps, as he is managing to keep it between those white lines this time, as he does have a spin out of that, loses it just from that turn, and that is his time basically done. He is, I think he will still be able to get one more lap on the board. However, those tyres are now going to be a bit worse for wear in comparison to if he would have set a better time with that. So Felix One, I don't know if he's going to be able to improve on that time, but I think he's just got to hope that it does stay on pole position, because at the moment it's not a bad time, and it's going to be quite a bit of a difficult one to beat for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It was surprising that he's kept it valid coming out of Sector 1. So yeah, that was really interesting. He's gone wide and then manages to just cut it back ever so slightly and not invalidate his lap time. So we'll see if any other driver manages to replicate what Felix One did. And yeah, I'm right on board with Dara Smith now. This will definitely be his final run should he invalidate or should he cross the line. As Dara Smith now playing really tight with the track limits, definitely confident in his abilities to hit every apex. And Dara Smith now coming across the third sector into the hairpin now. All about precision here, like I said in Q2, and closing off for the for the final time now in this session. Dara Smith, he'll put it into pole position with a 15.601. So Felix One would be definitely kicking his seat for that one.
Yeah, no, certainly will. Rocco coming across the line, I think, to just start his final lap, as well as Noxie, as well as Timo. So we move on over to the Haas boys of Alien One as he goes on to pole position so far with a 15.526 for SBS, and Shavy instantly drops that one. It's a 15.476 for DTR driver. So very nice time for him indeed, and it's going to be a bit difficult to try and beat. Felix One comes into the pits to retire from the session, so P4 is only going to be the best for the NLR driver. As I said, a lot more people are now on their laps. Vogel, I think, is going to be the next one across the line, and we'll see what time he's able to put on the board. In fact, no, sorry, he's just scaring up to start his lap, so it will be Fight Me Now Bot, who is still the only one to put a time on the board so far, 56.0 at the end of Sector 2, so this is looking in contention with his fellow SBS driver, might even be on pole position as well. Now through the stadium section comes the Haas driver. Only 2 more corners left to go to see if he is going to be on pole. Takes it through second gear. Sorry, short shift in it. Up in a fourth, up in a fifth. Across the line, it's a 15.2 fourth, Mr. Fight Me Now Bot. And what a time that is for sure. And yeah, I think that is definitely going to be difficult to beat. But the ERT boys, Timo, putting it on pole in Q2, not being able to put anything in Q3. In fact, it's a slower time in Q3 for him.
Wow, definitely a very big shock here. And yeah, ERT definitely would be kicking themselves after that Q3 session, but also NLR Phoenix One would be definitely mad at himself for losing it in Sector 2, really.
Yeah, no, he certainly would be. I think that was definitely looking like a better time than what he had originally. So I think he's definitely going to be kicking himself for sure. But Ryan on board with Vogel, he was up on his time ever so slightly. So we'll see if he's able to put it on and at least get up more than 1 point out of this qualifying session. He certainly does. It's a tied time with Alien One with a 15.526. But unfortunately, setting it after Alien 1, it means that he is in P4. And that is qualifying done. SBS looking very dominant in qualifying. First and third for the pair of them. Fight Me Now Bot out on top, as you were saying before. You know, one that we need to keep our eye out for. And it's a bit of a dark horse. Well, he's definitely proven that he is a dark horse of that one. Out on top is the Hash driver. On par with a 15.236. Shaby in lined up alongside him in second, picking up 8 points in this qualifying session. Alien picking up 6 points in third. Vogel picking up 5 points in fourth. Dara picking up 4 points in fifth. Noxie in sixth with 3 points. Felix One in seventh with 2 points. AJ picking up the final points position in this qualifying session, starting it in eighth. Timo in ninth, and then Rocco rounding out that top 10, not being able to get a proper lap time on the board for the relentless driver. But I know what Rocco is capable of, and I'm sure when it comes to the race, that's where most of the points are earned. I'm sure we'll see him moving up in that field as soon as we go, well, when we are in this race as well. So we shall await and see, but we're of course going to get this session started for the race as well. Any sort of predictions that you can hope for at all, Liam? Do you think there's going to be a surprise as well, maybe with someone that went out in Q2 or Q1 even?
No comment for now. Anything can happen, and we've had 3 different pole sitters for each of the session. Everything is so close and so tight knit, so anything can really happen. One mistake could cost a win or a podium or valuable points if you're certain teams. So yeah, definitely no comment for now.
Certainly, indeed. And yeah, I mean, what I've been informed as well is that there is going to be rain coming late in the race. So not only is it going to be, you can see it's quite overcast as well at the start of or for what's going to be the start of the formation lap. But there is going to be rain later on in the race as well, which I think is when things are going to start to spice up. Who's going to make the better strategy? I think this race could definitely get turned on its head when those raindrops start to come in, and if people opt in to go on a set of the intermediate tyres. So if they try and stay on a set of the dries, if it comes late enough, that they could try and take those dries to the end of the race. But let's have a look and see what everyone's opted to go on. Obviously, it's just going to be a broadcasted formation lap. Everyone on a set of the hard compound tyre, other than Rocco, Jerry, and Matt's going on a set of the mediums, and Coxie, I told you he would love to try something different, and he goes in P20. He's on a set of the soft compound of tyres. So I think. Yeah, Coxie's going to look to try and make up a lot of positions within this race. We'll wait and see if he is going to be able to do so. But, yeah, as I said, we're just lining up for the formation lap. And we shall await and see who's going to be the one that comes out on top. Again, both of the SBS boys are looking very strong. So I'm tempted to see if it's going to be these guys that are going to make their way out on top, or if someone through the field is going to be able to. I'm rooting for Coxie trying a bold strategy on those soft compound tyre.
Definitely very bold, and we'll be on the hards very early on. But would you like to take away lights?
We certainly will. So we've got 3, 4, and 5 red lights for round number 3 of the Never Last Racing Esports event. Lights are out and away they go. And Fight Me Now Bot getting a very good start in comparison to Shady alongside him. Dara getting an even better start down in 3rd position now. Alien 1 dropping in 1 position. Noxie also going up ahead of Alien 1 and ahead of Vogel. So very good start all around. Rocco getting up ahead of AJ, as well as Coxie making up 4 positions off at the start already on those soft compound tyre. And there's a massive bit of collision going on in the background, to the point where my PS5 even just lagged the whole entire thing. There's a lot of corner cutting already going on. AJ and Felix, one both side by side as they're making way up towards the end of sector 1 now. But Fight Me Now Bot having a very good start. I was saying that Shaby also trying to fight alongside with Dara Smith for that P2 position.
Collision. There's chaos at the back. Wow, there's a lot of missing front ends, missing front wings entirely. Wow, what a start to this race.
Certainly is. Coxie's dropped back down into P20. I think a lot of collisions going down with that on Mats, and Justin picked up, I think, an instant 3-second time penalty between the pair of them. But yeah, Dara made his way up into 2nd. Shaby couldn't hold that position. I think Dara had the inside of the double right-hander as AJ and Felix. One still fighting it out tooth and nail, and even further behind Mats and Jerry as well. Coming in towards the stadium section, Mats coming out on top of that one as Playtendo, and AJ also going fighting it out as AJ, I think, made a mistake through the stadium section, now trying to hold up Chris for the final sector. And I think AJ, is he making his way into the pits? He certainly is. He's got wing damage, and so does Mats, interestingly enough. So both those guys starting on a set of the hard tyres is now basically, well, they're throwing the strategy well out of the window. Yeah, everyone that is in the pits, those bottom 5, unfortunately, have been, well, they've just, unfortunately for them, it's not gone very well at the start of this race. But I'll tell you who it's gone very well for. Fight Me Now Bot still remaining out in the lead of the race. Alien 1 dropped 7 positions after that first lap, so he did not have a good start, and hopefully for him he's able to try and make that back up a bit more. But Playtendo up into 8th as well, and Rocco up into 5th.
Yeah, Rocco getting a really good start. Alien getting a really terrible start, like you said. I'm just parroting off you right now, but definitely one to watch. He definitely has the pace in him. It's just a matter of trying to get back up the field. And Dara Smith, actually, I've just noticed now, he's out of ERS. And SBS Alien not helping his cause, picking up a 3-second time penalty. So very early on in this race, definitely won't help. He'll need to keep it out the white lines in order to recover a few positions, as Fight Me Now Bot says to fast lap in the race. Sorry, Dara Smith does.
Yeah, so Dara's trying to catch up, but like you say, he's got no ERS whatsoever left, and it's only lap 3. He's literally sitting on 1%. As all, Trocker has left the session. There has been a spinner at the back. I saw Coxie went around, and Renz has also gone around as well as Jerry making a move on Chris for P11. In fact, they're still both side by side. Jerry's trying to hold it down the inside, and Jerry keeps that position from Chris. Very nicely done from the NLR driver now up into P11 as Trocker, unfortunately disconnecting once again, is now dropping back through the field. DTR obviously 1 in 3rd, 1 down in 15th after that's or now on lap number 3. Of course, there's not going to be any DRS until it gets to that start finish straight. Until this part actually. After the S's, I keep forgetting there's like a small little DRS zone within that. But yeah, at the moment, Fight Me Now got 1.6 seconds up ahead of Dara, but Dara 1.4 seconds up ahead of Shaby. And not only that, I think Rocco is trying to sniff a move on the DTR driver. However, he's also out of ERS, so hopefully he's able to maybe try and make that move a bit swiftly. Will those medium compounder tyre. He just needs a good exit out of this final corner, but he's got a massive train following along behind him.
Yeah, definitely, and they're all separated by 4 or 5 tenths of a second. I actually say that Felix 1 is dropping back just a little bit. Definitely a bit surprising that Felix 1 isn't up there. And I think he's lost a few positions off the start. No, he hasn't. He's actually maintained his position. So maybe Felix 1, he could be able to make up a few positions later on this race. We'll have to see.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an opportunity for him. As I said, he's just sort of maintained that same position in P7. Rocco got the move done in the end on Shaby, and of course, he got that second dose of DRS because the detection zone is before the start-finish line. So it works for both of the detection zones for the start-finish straight and for after turn 3 as well. So Rocco up into 3rd position now. Of course, without that ERS, he needs to just try and get away as quick as he can to get Shaby out of his DRS, with obviously not being with that much ERS, but of course he'll have that tyre advantage coming through. Yes, this is Vogel going around for VER out of the S section as well. I think that was at the start of the S's for the VER drivers, so unfortunate for Vogel, now down into 12th position and out of the points, as well. Of course, it is just a normal point system within the race, so everyone from 1st down to 10th will get a point, and obviously this fastest lap as well, fastest lap point for whoever does manage to get that one in that top 10 as well. So, and at the moment, that's now being held by Relentless's own Rocco out in 3rd position. A little bit further behind him though, Noxie, I think, is trying to eye up a move on Shaby for that P4 position.
Definitely one to watch. And Rocco, interestingly enough, he'll be on the medium. So on the alternate strategy, not slower strategy, on the alternate strategy this time around. So definitely he'll want to get past Dara as quick as possible, try and catch up to the QRT driver. AJ setting the fastest lap. And SBS Alien actually dropping from the train now, doesn't have DRS or the ERS to catch up to Playtendo, and he's now leading a train of his own. Behind him would be Timo and Jerry. Jerry really close to ERT Timo as he goes really wide in the S section, so it maybe picks up a track limits warning, I'm not sure, as DRS is wide open now. He's going to look for a move down the inside of ERT Timo. He goes for the move, he'll go over the curb, they make contact, and Jerry, he spins, so not good for the NLR driver. ERT Timo, he comes off a better one, and doesn't lose too much time to SBS Alien, so that's that skirmish done.
Yeah, I suppose you do have to go for it, but it was I think it was a bit too much of an audacious move from Jerry, unfortunately. I respect the fact he tried to do it, but it didn't work out for him, and now, unfortunately for him, he's down in 14th position. Timo manages to stay in P9 and stays within the DRS of Alien 1 up in front of him as well, so that's the main thing. Further up in front, though, Rocco has managed to catch back up to the back of Dara for P2 now, so this battle for P2 is definitely on, and he's brought Shaby along with him, as well as Noxie and as well as Felix 1. As you say, Playtendo really struggling to keep within the DRS of these top within 2nd through to 6th. So I think, I think Rocco is doing a very, very good job on those medium compounder tyre. As I said, Jerry was doing a very good job and unfortunately ended up dropping that on his own. Trocker is back in the session. I think I did see him rejoin, if I'm not mistaken, but unfortunately for him, it's a bit too little too late, as he's now fallen behind AJ, and AJ made a pit stop at the end of lap 1 because of wing damage. So Trocker is now basically with the guys that picked up themselves wing damage, and not even really a pit stop behind. He's the rest of the guys. They can try and take those hards until the rain comes. As I said, there is going to be rain towards the later stages of this race. We just don't know when.
Yeah, definitely. If a safety car comes now, it would definitely help the people from P15 downwards, their cause. And the rain will come a bit sooner for them. So definitely they'll be hoping for a safety car, hopefully not caused by them. But Rocco, he's 4 tenths within Dara now, and Shaby, he's just outside of DRS. I'm not sure if he'll get DRS coming down this second straight now. No, he won't, and that might prove detrimental later on. But then again, it is only the first sector. Dara hasn't been able to catch up to Fighting Albot, interestingly enough.
Yeah, no, certainly
And
not. But I was going to say, because Rocco, as I said, he's still on those medium compound tyre. He's going to have a much better time through these S sections in comparison to the guys on the set of the hards. So I think it is going to prove detrimental that Shavy didn't manage to get the DRS on that last lap. Because now, again, he's still out of that detection zone, whereas Rocco's still closing up to the back of Dara, as Chris and Vogel, I think, were just having a little bit of a scrap there through the end of the S's, and I think Vogel must have made some sort of mistake because he got past us. There is yellow flags, and that is QRT Ryan, unfortunately, having a spin at the exit of the final S section as well. And Mexico definitely known for picking up a lot of penalties, so I won't be surprised if we see majority of these drivers have a penalty by the end of this race. It's just who's going to keep it more on track in comparison to the others.
yeah, Alien picking up another 3 seconds, so definitely not helping out his cause once again. 6 seconds of penalties now. I think he's the first one to cross the 5 second margin. So will be interesting how he plays out this race, as CPI Noxy keeping a healthy gap to DTR Shaby or Shavi. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce his name. However, he might line up a move on DTR Shaby within these next few laps. We'll have to see.
Yeah, not again. I also not too sure how you would pronounce his name. I don't know if it's Shabby. I don't know. We'll just go with Shaby and just hope for the best. Rocco was really starting to lose out of DRS with Dara as well. I think the guys on the mediums are now really starting to feel the struggles of these medium compound tyre. I know they can go for about 13 to 14 odd laps, and then you can probably take the hards to the end of the race, but it's also dependent on when this rain is going to arrive. It could be the reason why Rocco went on his set of the medium compound tyre in the first place, is to wait for that rain, but at the moment it's not looking like it's coming anytime soon. And in fact, Rocco has lost our DRS to Dara, so this is where things could now start to prove a bit more detrimental for him, as I said, because those mediums I think are now definitely starting to go off for the relentless driver. Even further behind though, Noxie's starting to close up to the back of the DTR driver of Shaby, and I don't think Noxie's just going to have to remain behind him for now. However, another dose of DRS, this could be there is a chance that he could go for a move, as I think further up that's Jimmy and Renz that are fighting it out, I believe. I'm sorry, Jimmy and Matt, through the double right-hander. I think Jimmy's managed to come out on top of that. Both IRT boys, 19th and 20th. I don't think IRT are going to be too happy with that one.
No, they won't be, and especially they're still pointless now in terms of standings, so definitely not the race they really needed. As QRT Ryan, interestingly enough, picks up a 3 second time penalty, so the second of the few, well, not the second, but one of the first few drivers to pick up a 3 second time penalty. And like you said, Rocco is now losing a lot of time to Dara Smith, so the medium's starting to fade away just a tad bit, but still fast enough to hold off Shaby for now. And Shaby, he's using every bit of his ERS to stay ahead of Noxy and even pull away from Noxy even. And NLR Felix 1, he might be in for an overtake on Noxy, should Noxy not be too careful with his gap.
It certainly could. There is definitely an opportunity. Of course, Noxie will still get the DRS on the back of Shaby for the rest of this lap. However, come next lap, Felix 1 might look to try and pounce on the CPI driver out in front. I think further behind there was just another move that went down. Timo and Chris both exchanging positions, and I can see Timo also onto the back of Vogel, but I don't think the ERT driver is going to be able to get a move done. Alien 1 still doing a very good job of holding up the rest of these guys. There's Noxie picking up a 3-second time penalty, the first one in the top 5. And there's a full-course safety car. I don't know what that's for, as, Ren's retired.
Yeah, Renz has retired, and that completely shakes up the strategies now. Helps out Rocco just that tiny bit, as his mediums were starting to die. He needed to pit soon, and now Rocco has the prime opportunity to pit onto the hards and take it all the way until the rain period. As for, if you were the hard drivers, what do you do?
At this point, I'm not too sure. I can see Coxie has made his way into the pits. No, wait, no, he hasn't. It said he came into the pits, but then came straight back out of the pits. So I don't know what happened with him there. But no, he isn't in the pits, and he got a drive through for speeding under the safety car, despite being in the pits.
Wait, what? This game is glitching out. Because on my screen, he was on the main straight.
It showed that for me as well, so I don't know what's going on with that. But Rocco's come in, he's chucked on his set of the hard tyres, and yeah, he's out of his pit box now as well. So Rocco has made his mandatory stop, and he'll be the first one who has made his mandatory stop in comparison to everybody else out in front of him. AJ picking up a 3-second time penalty under the safety car. That's not very ideal, I must admit, but it then promotes, as I said, it promotes Shabby now, or Shabby, I think I've now been told within the stream chat, it promotes Shabby up into 3rd position. Felix once overtaken Playtendo under the safety car, so I don't know what's happened with that. Ryan and Jerry as well, just changing positions in the pit lane. I think maybe just a wing change for one of them as well. But yeah, it's also put, I don't know what's going on. AJ was on the main straight and again is now just sort of glitched in the pit lane for me, so I don't know what is going on with this. But it seems to be a lot of glitches going on with just people showing in the pit lane or not in the pit lane.
EA Codemasters fix your game. As you said, Shabby. I'm surprised he got a terrible start off at lap 1. It was definitely surprising that he didn't get a better start. And Dara Smith, obviously coming from 5th all the way down to, all the way up to 2nd, definitely what you want to see if you're a QRT manager. And Fight Me Now bot has been dominating this race, setting the pace, I guess, and setting the standard for what the pace should be out in front. Yeah. And actually, GSP Playtendo picking up 5 positions, so quietly moving up the field.
Yeah, no, he's definitely moving. A few of these guys have been quietly moving up the field. Like I said, Darrow's picked up or has moved up 3 positions in the field as well. Coxie has come into the pits to retire for Relentless, so that's one of the first retirees as well for the Relentless boys, unfortunately for Coxie, which is weird because it's under a safety car.
Oh, I thought he crashed into the pit entrance, so very weird. Oh yeah, he did pick up a drive-through, so maybe he was a bit frustrated with that. I'm not entirely sure now, but he did pick up wing damage off lap 1. He did have to pit and was shafted over by the game, so frustrations, it's understandable in a sense, but definitely not what you want to see if you're an Oriel fan or manager.
No, definitely not. And not only that, same goes for the ERT guys as well, because AJ has picked up a drive-through penalty as well, trying to catch up to the safety car. I don't know how he's picked up a drive-through, because I thought once the leader catches up to the safety car, then it should just be the case that they're just, they can go flat out to catch up to the safety cars. So I don't know what's happened with that, but AJ has now got himself a drive-through, despite, getting himself back up to the back of the rest of these guys. Unfortunately for him, I mean, he can still try and take those hards to the end of the race anyway, going to do obviously what Rocco's done, but he's now going to be at about a 20-odd second disadvantage with that, but should technically still come out in front of the rest of these hard runners that haven't made their pit stop, unless it starts to chuck it down. That's the thing that we are, we're anticipating later on in this race. It's when it's going to start to rain. We've completed 13 of 36 laps, so we're a third of the way through in this race. And, at the moment, Fight Me Now, but as you said, he's pretty much led every single, or he has led every single lap so far within this race. Darrow, as I said, had a very good start from 5th up into 2nd, and Shabby into 3rd, but Rocco is the one that had made a pit stop. under that safety car, so he's going to at least try and take those hards to the end. I think the only thing he's now hoping for is that it does not rain. If it doesn't rain, then there is a good chance that Rocco could take the win for tonight. For today, sorry. It's just whether the case he can, stay up ahead on those hards, and if he can keep up with the rest of those hard runners. If he can, then yeah, I think Rocco's in a very good shout.
Definitely, definitely. And, being on the alternative strategy in this game, definitely not the best idea. The meta, as we know, is the hard medium, especially for most tracks now. So, but considering we have this information of rain coming in and an early safety car, definitely plays into the hands of Rocco now. Just depending on whether he can make the positions up or not.
Yeah, he's definitely got to try and hope that he can do that. I don't think the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. I don't think Jimmy and AJ have caught up by that point. Oh, never mind. As I say, that safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. I think AJ on a set, you actually hit again for a set of the soft compound tire. I don't know if he tried to service drive-through under the safety car, but I think it's pretty much common knowledge now at this point. You can't serve any drive-throughs under any sort of safety car conditions. So AJ going to still have to serve a drive-through on those softs. I think he would have been fine had he stayed out on those hards, because then he could have definitely taken them to the end of the race. So now he's going to be at a bit more of a disadvantage, because then he's going to have to make another pit stop anyway, as well as serve his drive-through. But Fight Me Now bot kept with that safety car and is now launched off of the line and had a very good start up ahead of Dara. Shabby as well. Look at try and go for a move. Playtendo gets the move done on Felix 1, and oh my god, they're going to start going about 3 or 4 wide now as they make their way in towards turn number 1. Shabby going to try and go down the inside of Dara in towards turn 1 and gets the move done, I believe. However, Dara will have the inside for turn 2, but Shabby will have the inside for turn number 3, and that's nicely done for Shabby to get that move done. Felix 1 dropping down a couple positions after having a little bit of a squirm out of turn number 3, now down into 8th position. In fact, it could be 9th. Justin looking to try and see if he can go for a move. In fact, Felix 1 goes down the inside of Chris to get the move done for
missing front ends.
As there's a lot going on at the back.
There's too wide. There's the Mercedes and Alfa Romeo, but Kirti Ryan now has a really good view of this. A few braking boards being knocked out now. There's a spinning McLaren of CPI Noxie. Noxie actually being taken out from the top 5, so definitely won't help his cause, as Kirti Ryan, he's trying to navigate his way through the field as there was utter chaos just in front of him. So, and there still is chaos. They're still going to go too wide into the hairpin now, NLR Felix 1 and SPS Alien, and on his outside is Chris of the CPI driver. Now GSP Justin going for a move on Chris, and GSP Justin gets the move done, but don't stop there. Yeah, Rocco is trying to go for a move on Chris, but has to slot back in. Will he go for the dive? I'm not sure if he will. HA retires from the session, but Rocco, he'll go for the move down the inside of turn 1. And they're still going to go side by side. Chris on the outside, Rocco on the inside, and they make a slight bit of contact. Kirti Ryan, out of all of this, he's going to go side by side with Rocco, and they're still going to go side by side into the second sector. And here we go, Rocco on the outside this time, and Ryan in the inside. They're still going to go side by side, and Kirti Ryan finally, after all of that, Ryan comes out on top.
Beautiful move from Ryan, to say the least. Rocco also getting that move done on Chris as well, so very nicely done from Rocco. But yeah, very good battling throughout that whole field. I don't know what had happened sort of with a couple of those other guys. With Noxie, I didn't manage to catch what had happened, but yeah, unfortunately now down towards the back end of the field. Vogel as well, already losing out from 1 second behind Chris, despite all of those guys battling just out in front of him. But it is still Fight Me Now bot out in the lead, already gaining that 1.4 second gap up ahead of Shabby in second, and 2 seconds up ahead of Dara as well. Timo has managed to claw his way up into 4th position, but has got Playtendo just trying to sort of keep to the back of him for that DRS when it of course comes up after the S section. But of course DRS has been enabled on this lap, however won't get any as I said, until after that S section, as Trocker and Jimmy trading positions now as well. So Trocker now up into 13th, Jimmy down into 14th position. But yeah, Justin, I think, might be trying to see if he can go for a move on Felix 1, maybe even before any sort of DRS gets enabled, as Jimmy picks up a 3-second time penalty after getting overtaken by Trocker as well, down in P13. So now Jimmy down into 14th position. No moves looking like they're going to be done at the moment. However, I think Timo's going to be a little bit vulnerable once that DRS, once obviously the DRS comes into play. He's 1.7 seconds behind Dara, and he's got Playtendo looking to try and go for a move on him ASAP. Of course, I think GSP and ERT are fighting with each other, or somewhat close with each other as well in this standing. So needs to try and go for this move ASAP. Does Playtendo, and Timo needs to try and hold on up ahead of Playtendo, as well as SBS, as Alien 1 also looking to see if he can go for a move.
Yeah, and bear in mind, Alien 1 does have a 6-second time penalty. Any track position he's gained will be nullified by his penalty, as I've just noticed here that Shabby, sorry, I keep trying to say Shabby is out of ERS, and Fight Me Now bot also down low on ERS with Dara on half a battery, so definitely conserving this time Dara is. But back to the fight now, ERT Timo versus Playtendo. Playtendo gets the lead, or gets P4, and we'll get another DRS, and that'll be that skirmish over for this lap anyways. I'm not sure if Alien would want to try and go for a move now while the pan is still hot. And no, he won't, so that's that battle nullified. No, NLR Felix 1 tries to go through a gap that SBS Alien has left for Felix, so there's that skirmish done for now as they approach the S section.
Yeah, so Felix 1 just remaining behind Alien. Alien picking up yet another 3-second time penalty. That's now 9 seconds for the SBS driver. So I said it's better to try and keep it within those white lines. And unfortunately for Alien 1, he has not been able to do so. Also clocked as well. Fight Me Now bot also has a 3-second time penalty to his name. So he's definitely got, he needs to now try and get 3 seconds up ahead of Shabby. Otherwise, Shabby is going to look to probably try and take, go up ahead of Fight Me Now bot. Of course, it's still fighting for that race win at the moment. But at the moment, they still need to make one other pit stop. As I said, I think they are both waiting. Or all these guys that stayed out on those hard compounder tyre are all waiting for some sort of raindrops to occur. As Alien 1, in fact, gets a move done on Timo. As I think just got clipped by Timo as well, out of coming in towards turn 2. I don't know if that was just not enough room that was left or what, but now Felix 1 going to go for the move on Timo down the running outside, of turn number 4. Very nicely done from Felix 1. Up into 5th position now goes the NLR driver, and needs to now try and gain back on Playtendo, as he already lost 2 seconds sitting behind Timo, as Playtendo just soared off into the distance up ahead of the rest of these guys. Now Timo, I don't know if he picked up any sort of damage, because he's now holding up the rest of these guys a lot.
Definitely suspicious of damage. Maybe the lightest of tap, just knocking down a few clicks of downforce. But yeah, Felix 1 getting ahead of Timo, definitely crucial for his cause and for NLR's cause to try and get Oriel now. As Timo's dropping like crazy. He's already dropped 9/10. We'll get a slice of DRS, which will help him in the long term, but just watch till GSP Justin nabs that position of Timo like candy from a baby. And GSP Justin firmly up into 6, but will he get another slice of DRS? Yes, he will. I'm not sure if Timo will, though. And Timo does indeed, and so does Justin, so there's that skirmish done for this lap.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. So nicely done from Justin getting that move done on Timo again. I think that was also quite crucial for the GSP driver to go for that move. Timo, yeah, as I said, just dropping very quickly through the field now. Of course, Ryan on a set of the medium compound tyre, a fresher medium tyre as well, means that he is definitely under threat from the QRT driver and the relentless driver of Rocco just behind him as well. El Trocker as well, He's managed to make up that position on Crisp, but unfortunately not making any manoeuvres closing up to the gap, closing up to the train out in front of him. That is being led by Felix on. But I tell you who has caught up. It is Mr. Dara Smith, the QRT driver, has caught up to the back of Shabby as Chris and Vogel both going side by side through the stadium section. I think Chris is the one that's come out on top of that one, but I'm still going to stick on board with this battle here for second position as Dara now has DRS on Shabby, and he's got about 50% of VRS to play with, whereas Shabby's only got about 17 odd percent to play with. So with that second dose of DRS after turn number 3, I think we could see a move from the QRT driver, as we see a move from a QRT driver, and that is Ryan getting a move done on Timo down in towards turn number 1.
Moves being made, positions being gained, as QRT Ryan has made 8 positions up from this race. The biggest winner, tied with El Trucker and GSP Justin so far, as most positions gains in this race so far. SBS Alien obviously being the biggest loser of all of them, down 13 positions.
Yeah, again, it's been glory for one of the SBS drivers and a bit of a stinker for the other one, unfortunately. Alien 1 has set down in 16th position, unfortunately. As all. Yeah, what happened with Justin?
He just went straight on, so it could be a wheel problem. I think it might have been a wheel problem, and if it was a Fanatec, it wouldn't surprise me. But stick on board with Dara now, as Dara, he's gone wide for the final corner. Definitely won't help his exit, as Shabby, he's gained 2 tenths coming out that corner, so a bit of breathing space between Shabby and Dara. So still another lap for them to fight it out, as Rocco out of ERS, very close to Timo though, on 10 lap newer hards as well, so definitely has the tire life to play with, definitely has the tired all the confidence in the world, I would say. But yeah, QRT Ryan, I've just noticed he's on the mediums.
Yeah, so he's definitely going to have to make another stop, and I think he's also waiting for that rain to fall down. I think that's why he went on a set of the medium compounder tyre. Again, it's still very overcast, but no rain has actually come in as of yet, so at the moment they're still just going to be trying to scrap it out, whereas Ryan trying to sort of get away from Timo, and has done exactly that already. We were just within 1 lap, he's already gained a second out of the ERT driver, so it's now going to allow Rocco to have an opportunity of going for a move on the ERT driver, and unfortunately for Rocco, I think just having a bit of a bad exit out of the S section, but of course he's got Justin up behind him. Justin has a penalty, Rocco doesn't, Timo doesn't either, so that's again another bit more of an advantage that they have with each other, and of course the biggest advantage being that you know, Rocco has 10 lap fresher tyres in comparison to the guys around him, so and he doesn't need to make another pit stop, whereas everybody else does. So yeah, I think Rocco is definitely now going to be getting this move done on Timo. Timo now a bit more of a sitting duck, and then we might even see Justin opt to go for a move as well. Rocco straight down the inside, even with no ERS. That was a very nice and easy pass for the Relentless driver, and yeah, unfortunately the ERT driver won't have an answer for that one. Even I think might even in towards turn number 4, I think Timo could be a bit in trouble with obviously no DRS to his name. I think Justin could look for a move, but it's not going to be close enough. I think at the moment it's still going to remain the same, but Rocco, crucially, getting past Timo, can now try and close back up to the back of Ryan.
Yeah, and he's already within the second of Ryan, so perhaps the mediums are going off at the moment. We'll have to see coming into this S section. Paying close attention to the gap now, just over a second, so yeah, there's still a bit of life on the mediums, and obviously paired with the fact that Rocco looks like he's on a pad, the S section would be his weakest part of this circuit.
Yeah, no, it certainly would be. So let's have a look though. This for P2, it's still going to be the case that Dara is so close now to the back of Shabby, and I think this is where we're going to see the move done. He's using that ERS. He needs to go for this move. I think Shabby's not exactly going to have an answer for it. He's trying to use his ERS as well to stay up ahead as Jerry picking up a 3-second time penalty. But here we go. Dara straight down the inside of Shabby. Up into second position now goes the QRT driver, and that is P2.
There's raindrops. Sorry to interrupt, there's raindrops on the cars now, so the rain period's starting to kick in. The track evolution starting to do its thing now, so it'll be interesting to see when the crossover point is.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely could come very, very soon. And saying that, though, Darrow picks up still the a purple sector 1, so there's still an opportunity that he could, well, still set the fastest lap, and that might be the fastest lap for the remainder of this race. But being on 22 lap old hard tyres, that's very, very interesting to me. But yeah, those guys, Shabby and Dara, have completely run away, and they need to still stay within 3 seconds of Fight Me Now bot. And Dara is on an absolute mission to stay within those 3 seconds. Shabby's unfortunately dropped out of it, but the rest of those guys are catching up with it. And Ryan as well, he's already caught up to the back of Felix 1. Unfortunately for Rocco, he hasn't been able to do the same. And as you say, it's just whenever this rain starts to fall, I think Rocco tried that risk, and well, he had to go for something because obviously being on those medium tyres, they weren't going to make it until the rain. I'd be very surprised if they did for 22 laps. So I respect obviously that he did try that, but it's just whether or not it's actually going to get wet enough for the rain to settle. But Ryan still not going to be close enough to go for a move on Felix 1 at this present moment. However, obviously there is still another detection zone for there's still another DRS zone, so we might see a move go down there, but it just looks as if Ryan had a bit of a worse exit in comparison. So no moves done for Ryan. I don't think there's going to be any moves throughout the field. I was saying that Justin's quite close to the back of Timo, but yeah, no moves done at this present moment. As I said, I think the rest of those hard runners are really hoping this rain starts to drop, as Jerry's dropped it in the straight.
How has he managed that? He might have made collision with an Oxy or something. Because I did see them two scrapping it out, so I'm not entirely sure what happened. And yeah, after all that effort, is now 17 seconds and counting behind the next nearest driver. Would be hoping for a safety car, maybe, but definitely not the best for him. As it looks like Darragh Smith caught up 2/10 to Fight Me Now bot on an absolute mission, and trying to send everything, trying to put track limits on the line, even just to try and catch up a few tenths to Fight Me Now bot.
Yeah, no, he's definitely trying to catch up as quick as he possibly can. Felix wants to manage to get back within DRS of Playtendo, and Timo and Justin both scrapping it out now through turns 2 and turn number 3. I think Timo's just going to manage to hold on to that one for the time being. However, well, no, he did actually manage to pick up DRS off of the back of Rocco. Jimmy, the first one on a set of the intermediate tyres. So I think this is going to give him information for Vogel, and I think for the rest of the guys as well that are watching the stream. Jimmy, the first one on set of the inters, I think is where we're now going to see if they are better, or if it is still better to be on those dry tyres. At the moment, it is looking like it's still better to be on those dry tyres, but Jimmy doesn't look as if he's losing too much time in comparison to the rest of them. So I think it's getting closer and closer to that crossover point, which the rest of those hard runners are all hoping for, because they still need to make another pit stop, and I'm sure those tyres are absolutely crying to get changed off as well on those hard tyres.
Oh yeah, definitely. As anyone that started with the hards and still are on the hards, looks like they're about reaching the 75% margin. I'm riding on board with Fight Me Now bot. His tyre wear looks much better than Darragh Smith's at the moment, and as well as DTR Shabby. Yeah, the tyre wear definitely one to watch out now. Will anyone get a puncture? Is the main question now. But yeah, there's fighting from P4 to P6. P5 of QRT Ryan naps the position of Pretendo. He might go for the move on Felix 1. Yes, he does. He'll send it down the inside. And QRT Ryan on the outside. Felix on the inside. Felix, they make contact. And there's still a GSP driver still on the outside. And GSP Justin picks up his 3-second time penalty. I think Felix 1 and Ryan they're still going to go side by side, and after that skirmish, QRT Ryan comes off the winner, but definitely a bit argy-bargy there.
Yeah, it was definitely there was a lot of bangs going on between the pair, or between the three of them. But I think QRT Ryan might be lagging ever so slightly on my side, because he was sort of jittering behind Felix 1 and behind Playtendo, and then all of a sudden was just back alongside him. So I think QRT Ryan might have a few connection issues. I don't know if that's going to be talked about after the race. I'm pretty sure it won't be, but I suppose we'll wait and see. It's Felix 1 into the pit. So I think he's going to try and take the plummet as well, or try to take the plunge on a set of the intermediate timers, as well as Vogel. Vogel coming into the pits for Inters, but he did pick up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane as well. So the VER driver now more at a disadvantage with that 5-second penalty to his name. But at the moment, it doesn't look as if it is intermediate weather at this at this present moment. It's looking like it is still dry conditions. Jimmy wasn't catching up to the back of anybody when he was on those intermediate tyres. So I think it's still going to be a set of the dry tyres for the moment. And Shabby has caught back up within DRS of Dara. So I think Shabby's now looking to see if he can go for a move on Dara very, very soon. Obviously, these hard runners are all still going to be staying out as much as they possibly can. As QRT Ryan picking up yet another 3-second time penalty. But yeah, all these guys are still going to be staying out until the rain properly hits. Question is it actually going to be wet enough to go on those intermediate tyres? I think Felix One's the one we've got to look out for to see if it is. And at the moment, he's not making any gains on Alien 1.
Yeah, no, definitely not making up any moves at the moment. I'm just paying attention to the Delta for now. The raindrops are definitely settling on the cars now, if you're paying close attention, for anyone there with an eagle eye. And no, if NLR Phoenix has lost 5/10 throughout the second sector, so definitely not time yet for the Inters. But if you're the hard runners, when do you call it a pit? Because your tires are screaming out at you, and they might burst at any moment. Bear in mind, they went 27 laps, almost 28 laps on these tires alone. So when do you call it time?
I think they kind of have to stick it out. They still have to stick it out until it gets wet enough. But I think that's why Felix One came in, because I think it was just to the point where they were already dead for him. I mean, Fight Me Now bot has lost just, I think, in about 5/10 of a second just coming through the S section alone. So these hards they're definitely going off, and it's so close, I think, to the point of puncture for each of these guys. At the moment, though, they're all still going to be holding on for the time being, but Rocco's going to be at a massive advantage in comparison to the rest of them. I'm surprised we're not actually seeing Rocco go for a move on Playtendo as of yet. Same with QRT Ryan. He's done 17 laps on those medium compounder tyre. They're not going to be as bad as what the rest of the hard runners are. In fact, yeah, Fight Me Now bot into the pits, because I think that was just to the point where it was past that crossover as Noxie dropping it out of or in the stadium section, Playtendo into the pits as well. So I think these hard runners are really struggling now, and now it's given Rocco a massive advantage. The same with QRT Ryan. Both of these guys, I think, are in for a decent shout still if it doesn't get wet enough to be intermediate tyres. And at the moment, it's not intermediate weather.
The race is definitely spicing up at the very end of this race. Only 6 laps ago. Definitely all to play for the top few. And will be interesting. Will Dara pit this lap? Will Shabby pit this lap? What do you think, J. Cole?
They've got to. They surely have to. Playtendo and Noxie have both pit for dry tyres, despite it raining. So they know that it's not time for intermediate weather. DRS is still enabled. So yeah, it's definitely not wet weather. It's definitely still dry conditions. And you can see Felix One still losing out to Playtendo on those intermediate tyres. He's not making any gains whatsoever. And yeah, I think it was a wrong call to go on to set the Inters. Obviously they had to pit, or Felix One had to pit. But I don't think it was. I don't think it's wet enough at this moment. Although saying that, coming through the S's, he is sticking with Playtendo, and Dara and Shabby are both in. Does QRT Ryan follow suit? No, he does not. Vogel picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Dara on the softs.
I think that's shown it. I think the Inters was the wrong call for him.
Yeah, and QRT Ryan takes the lead of this race, obviously with 6 seconds. Rocco's de facto leader. Rocco, of all of this chaos, might come out the winner here if Ryan doesn't manage to pull 6 seconds from him within these next 6 laps.
And I don't think there's going to be a chance that he's going to be able to do that. There is a spinner out the back. That is Jerry, unfortunately, out of the S's. And I don't think there's going to be any safety cars or anything like that. I don't think he actually hit his wing quite hard. But yeah, Jerry having that spin, I think those tyres are way too hot for the intermediates. So yeah, QRT Ryan, those tyres are only going to get worse for him. So I don't see him getting 6 seconds up ahead of Rocco. In fact, if anything, I see Rocco probably catching him within the next couple of laps. Those tyres, I said, they're going to be crying for help now as well. 19 laps on those mediums. Obviously, they're not as durable as a set of the hards, and the hards only went 29 laps. Saying that though, Alien 1 has just been overtaken by Playtendo. Still the only one that hasn't pit yet.
Yeah, interestingly enough. So maybe feeding information to his teammate or doing whatever he needs to. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, Fight Me Now bot all over the back of El Chalker now, who's on 20-year lap old mediums. There's a retiree in the pits that is Jerry Zucht. After all his efforts, amounts to nothing. Fight Me Now bot gets past El Chalker simply enough, and El Chalker gets the position back. Did they make contact during the straight? I'm not entirely sure.
No, I think what happened. El Chalker having a bit of a massive bit of oversteer. Sorry, coming out of turn 3. But I think what happened was because of Jerry's retired car and Fight Me Now bot was going for that move when that yellow flag was out there. I think he had to let the position go, and there's DRS disabled. So now is where it's starting to prove that it is intermediate weather, and Felix 1 is the leader on those intermediate tyres. Now we're going to see who's going to make that pit stop. Because of DRS now being disabled, it's now indicating to me that the intermediates are the better tyre. However, I can see Justin is still catching up to the back of Felix 1, and Felix 1 isn't making any gains on those medium runners. So on the medium runner off Playtendo, or even on the soft runners up in front of them. So I even though DRS has been disabled, I still don't think it's wet enough for intermediate tyres, and it doesn't look as if anybody is going to come in to change into those intermediate tyres. Yeah, QRT Ryan's staying out, Rocco is staying out, yeah, everyone is pretty much staying out. I don't think it is intermediate weather, it's still dry weather, but DRS just being disabled.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. Maybe they're equal. I'm not entirely sure. Hard to say at the moment, and especially in conditions like these. And there's a spinner of SBS Alien. Yeah, on the new mediums. Not sure if he lost it on traction or not. But the track, I'm just noticing now, there's small bits of puddles, like just very small puddles. It's barely noticeable throughout the second sector.
Yeah, so I think Felix 1 might have to try and dip his tyres into those just to try and keep them as cool as he possibly can, especially following another car. But yeah, what I'm quite intrigued on as well is the soft runners are catching up to Rocco. The thing is, Rocco hasn't got a penalty. He needs to try and keep it penalty free if he wants a chance of winning this race, which he's doing so at this moment. And hopefully I haven't just commentators cursed him when he gets a penalty, but because he's, I think, trying to play a bit safer, he's now being caught by Fight Me Now bot, and Fight Me Now bot, obviously there's not going to be any DRS, so he's going to have to try and overtake the hard way. In fact, yeah, still no one coming in. So yeah, he's going to have to try and overtake the hard way. Felix 1 again has lost out a second to Justin, so again, it's still also proving that it is, unfortunately, despite the DRS being disabled, it is still dry enough for these dry tyres to be working in comparison to the wet tyres, or in comparison to intermediate tyres. But yeah, because Fight Me Bot's now caught up, it's now going to allow Dara to start catching up, and Dara is not out of the fray for the win of this race. Obviously, Fight Me Now bot has a penalty, so he can get ahead of Rocco as much as he wants, but he needs to get that gap ahead of Rocco, and I think Rocco is just going to let him go to try and fight QRT Ryan, try and drag him up to the back of the medium runners. So, all saying that, in fact, Fight Me Now bot's gone deep.
Yeah, and I think there will be team orders at QRT now. I've just noticed. He's in a QRT sandwich, Rocco and Fight Me Now bot. I wonder, will Ryan sacrifice his race for Dara's sake? But only if Fight Me Now bot gets past Rocco. And Rocco now down the outside. Fight Me Now bot down the inside. Audacious move. They still make a stick. Rocco down the inside this time for the hairpin. I think Fight Me Now bot's going to go for the switchback. The switchback has been made, although it's a bit argy-bargy. And Fight Me Now bot, he gets the position. Will he get DRS? No, he won't. And Rocco gets a snap of oversteer. And that's that fight done. But interestingly enough now, it's put Dara back in contention for the race win. And he'll need to get past Rocco as soon as possible.
Yeah, as I said, I know Dara wasn't out of it, but I didn't think it'd take him that quickly to catch back up to the back of Rocco. Rocco's been on these hards for now 23 laps in comparison to, well, Dara's 4-lap old soft compound tyre. Vogel picks up yet another 3-second time penalty. Rocco is now a sitting duck to Dara behind him. The thing is that these softs are going to start to go off very soon as well, to the point where those hards are now going to be a bit better. But at the moment, these softs, he just needs to make the most of them, and that's exactly what Dara's doing. This is the fight for the lead of the race, and at the moment, Rocco is the one that is holding on up ahead of the Alpine. At the moment, Ryan as well, getting caught out by Fight Me Now Bot. So Fight Me Now Bot might go from me very soon, but it's looking like Rocco is going to stay up ahead of Dara for the time being. Dara, though, so close, practically pushing Rocco through the exit of the S's, as there's another spinner that is CPI Noxy once again having a spin at the exit of turn 4, and there you go, Dara straight down the inside.
They're going to go for it. And oh wow, they made contact.
Yeah, I think Dara he forced that a bit too much. That's definitely going to be a report at the end of this race, but Dara goes into the lead of the race. That was not a nice one from Dara. I feel like he might have to let that position go, and hopefully Rocco didn't pick up any wing damage from that, because that was a very audacious lunge. Despite even though it is raining, it was a very bad lunge from him, I've got to admit. So I think Dara's going to get a report at the end of this race from Rocco, because I think Rocco just felt like he's been hard done by with that. And I don't blame him, but yeah, at the moment, Rocco is the one that is still just sort of chasing down Dara. Dara also chasing down Ryan, and also Fight Me Now Bot got in front of QRT Ryan, so he's managed to get that gap on him. Not only that, Fight Me Now Bot's got that 3-second gap on Rocco as well. So Rocco is out of contention of this race win. It's up to his team. It's up to Dara to see if he can get within 3 seconds of Fight Me Now Bot. I mean, Fight Me Now Bot's only got 1 penalty to his name. Yeah, only 1 3-second time penalty. Dara's got 2, I think 3.4 seconds behind to try and go for it, as in fact QRT Ryan just lets him go. So now Rocco is going to be held up by the QRT driver for that 3 seconds behind him, and so yeah, team orders are definitely going to be playing into effect here. Rocco needs to try and go for this move ASAP. QRT Ryan, though, is not going to give this one up without a fight, and don't blame him for it. And yeah, I think he knows that his teammate might get a penalty at the end of this race, so it's just trying to hold him up so he can stay up ahead of him.
Yeah, definitely the point I was about to lead on to next. He's parking it like an absolute bus. Rocco can't do anything about it. And on the better, arguably, mediums, QRT Ryan stays ahead of that skirmish, although his tyres are absolutely beat to hell and back.
Not only that, though, I was going to say, it's on the final lap of the race now, and Fight Me Now Bot's still that 3-second gap up ahead of Dara, so I think this might be going to the SBS driver, despite even even if Dara manages to get within 3 seconds. I think that penalty is going to get put on from Dara. As I said, once the stewards, of course, decide that one. So Fight Me Now Bot, I said he's been very dominant throughout this race. We didn't know when the rain was going to come, and of course, when the rain fell, it wasn't hard enough for the intermediate tyres. Felix One tried that opportunity, and it didn't work out for him. I think the intermediates might be a bit better now in comparison to the dry tyres, but it's too little too late for that to happen, as Timo having a spin out of turn number 4, half spin shall I say, out of turn 4. But yeah, Fight Me Now Bot, even though having a 3-second time penalty, he has driven very well within this entire race. Again, was very untouchable from anybody else around him, and it's looking like the SBS driver is going to be picking up the win for today. Just 2 more corners left to go for him, and coming around the final corner now, Fight Me Now Bot takes the win for round number 3 of the NLR Esports event. Dara will finish in 2nd with a bit of controversy behind that one. QRT Ryan will finish in 3rd, but drop down behind Rocco, drop down behind Shabby, and finishes in 5th in the end. In fact, might even drop down behind Playtendo, and he certainly does, and behind Felix One. Felix One manages to jump up ahead of QRT Ryan, so Playtendo in 5th, Felix One in 6th, and they still manage, relentless, despite all of that happening, still managed to gain points on NLR. Still somehow Rocco finishes in 3rd position in the end. Justin ends up finishing in 8th, Timo in 9th, El Troca finishing in the final points position in 10th. Jimmy in 11th. Both of the VI boys out of the points. Not very happy with the pair of them, I'm sure. Chris for CPI in 12th, and Noxie as well, DNF in later on within that as well. I think after picking up damage in a few spins for the CPI driver. Vogel in 13th and Alien in 14th as well. Alien, again, had a very good qualifying session. The race just did not produce well enough for him and ends up finishing in 14th out of the points. But yeah, Fight Me Now Bot, I would say, was pretty untouchable throughout that entire race.
Yeah, congratulations and commiserations to the podium and winner of this race. Fighting Outball, absolutely setting the stage for the race. Put it on pole, didn't he? Yeah, he did put it on pole and just led most of the way. So definitely, definitely a very good race from him, despite the 3 seconds.
Certainly did. So yeah, well done to Fight Me Now Bot for, of course, as they're taking the win for SBS. I think I don't know if any teams actually had a double points finish in the end. I'll have to have a look after that. In fact, yeah, let's have a quick look and see. The only ones that did were the two Aston Martins, so GSP, QRT, look as if they were the only two teams, and the Ferraris of DTR, sorry, they're the only three teams. Oh no, Alpines as well. So yeah, so QRT, GSP, and DTR were the only ones that picked up double points finishes for today. But Fight Me Now Bot, as I said, taking that top step. Dara in second, as I said, after a little bit of controversy that might get changed for the Irishman. Rocco does take out that final podium position in third. Shabby in fourth. Playtendo in fifth. Felix 1/6. Ryan in seventh. Justin in eighth. Timo in ninth. El Trocker taking 10th. I feel like Ryan, if he wasn't holding up Rocco as much as he was there, I feel like Ryan probably could have jumped up ahead of Felix 1 and Playtendo. It would have been difficult to jump up ahead of Shabby, but yeah, definitely could have finished ahead of Playtendo and Felix 1. So I think he kind of threw that away for QRT boys with that one. But still, a double points finish for both of them. It was a very good race indeed. Anyone, I know they probably don't do it, but anyone that you think could be sort of the driver of the day for all of that, Liam?
Fight Me Now, Bob, by far. Dominating drive. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. Fight Me Now Bot, definitely the one I would say as the driver of the day for sure. So that's going to round off round number 3, as I said, of the NLR Esports event. Any sort of closing thoughts for today? Sorry, Liam, at all?
Definitely an exciting one. And yeah, if you're still watching, hit the subscribe button for the NLR event. You definitely don't want to miss out on next week. I'll be here definitely, but I'm not sure about J. Cole. I think TDB will be joining me, or Freefall, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, thank you for joining me today, J. Cole.
Not a problem at all. Yeah, I don't think I will be here next week. As I said, I think it will be Mr. FVR Timon joining next week. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that one. But thank you to everyone that has tuned in. And make sure you do tune in for round number 4 for the NLR Esports event.